Okay, so for anyone who is joining us on our recording, welcome. We've got Stephen, Ariane, Bryce, Aaron, Bessie, Bianca, and Demi here. Guys, if you want to say hi, now's your chance. You can unmute, wave, whatever you feel like. Hey, Dem. We are going to get started. So we're going to go through our brand development I'm going to throw a PowerPoint to you guys because it's just easy in this format. I'm going to ask everyone on the live a couple of questions, but if you are watching this recorded, if you do have some questions, I'll post this up in the Facebook group and you can definitely send those questions into that comment box and I'll make sure that I get back to you on those. Okay, so let's get cracking. As you can see, I've got lots of things open on my screen. Here we go. All right, and I can see all of your faces as well. That makes me feel good. So guys, this is kind of the space that I've been working in prior to my time at Virgin. So for me, I do have a marketing background, so I've pulled really some basic brand development content for you guys, and I really hope that this is going to be useful for you in the next couple of weeks as we sort of manage this change going from a brick and mortar face-to-face human to human to more of a virtual and online space. So it is very basic, quite generic, but we can definitely tailor this with the Q&As to more of that sort of FitPro fitness professional space. So let's get started. So your personal brand. So personal brand is something that is personal to you, an individual. We look at brands that are companies. You've got Virgin is a brand, you've got Coca-Cola, Apple, and they're very much generic across that company. But personal brand is more about you as an individual and how you fit into that space. I have got some notes as well that I'm going to pull up on my other computer here. Cool. So personal brand is, I like to look at it in three ways. It's how you look, so how you present yourself. It's how you act, sort of through your body language, what you do, how you show up, and also how you speak. And that can be through writing, through sort of verbal communication. It could be how you speak, again, through your body language, how you present yourself, all these kind of things interlink. And your personal brand comes back to sort of those three key areas. So for the guys who are on the chat, I'd love you to kind of jump in on any of this, but when you think about your personal brands, does anyone have sort of an idea of how they look, how they act, how they speak when they're sort of with their clients or on the gym floor or talking to your community? Does anyone have something like that set already that they want to share? Don't all speak at once, guys.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Hey, Dan.
I like to, in terms of look, come across quite well presented and slick and professional, but also with a little bit of kind of like my character and positive energy as well. And I guess that comes across with how I act. So I try to be quite positive and relatable and approachable. And then in terms of speaking, that depends on who you're talking to. I try and obviously match the person's energy or the way that they're talking to me and communicate back to them. But yeah, I think just being positive and trying to communicate, especially with movement, which is something we're going to have to try and get quite good at in the next few little bits, communicating over the line. Yeah, something like just being clear and precise and describing it in a way that I know that client is going to understand it, kind of thing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome. So for you, Dem, you might already have an idea of what your personal brand might look like because it's kind of sort of evolved through that sort of face-to-face and that in-gym space that you're already in. For some of the guys who are still kind of new into their PT role, you might not kind of know where to start with this or what that might look like yet. And that's okay, because these sort of things, your personal brand will evolve depending on sort of who you are, who you want to work with, and sort of where you want to go. But if you have an idea of kind of what the basis of that is, you have something to come back to, which is great. I wrote this down earlier, and I think this is really a really great thing to sort of take away, that your personal brand isn't just a headshot. It's not just the picture of your trainer profile. It's actually how you show up and do all these things as a whole package. So it really is tailored to you as an individual. And as fitness professionals, we are our own walking business card. It's not just that tangible photo on a card with your name and your contact details anymore. It is how you look, how you feel, how you act, how you show up, and how you communicate. So it's quite intense, isn't it? To know that everything you do is part of that personal brand. A strong personal brand is one that people can relate to and sort of connect to emotionally as well. And if you are able to open up some of those channels by building a bit of trust and sort of connection, then you're going to have so much more of a strong brand, personal brand, than just another FitPro or just another PT. So this topic of personal brand can really change the game for some of you guys. It can take you to the next level. It can really harness taking where your business is now to a new platform entirely. And for those starting, this is a really good, strong foundation to get some direction, especially in this virtual space. I love this definition of your brand, and I say your brand, I mean your personal brand, and that's your brand identity tells people who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how you do it. Sounds simple, right? For me, yeah, it's simple, but how can you really make that congruent and concise and really clear for people that you want to attract to your business? And I think that's where the challenge can lie sometimes, is that we know how we want to present ourselves, but can we clearly communicate that to the people we want to attract? Does that make sense to you guys? I've got some nods. Yay. Guys, stop me if you have any questions at any time. We will go through sort of how to work out your brand in the next couple of slides, but a couple of questions I would put to you first are here up on your screen. So for you guys, what is your brand about? Is it that you are all about training women after having children, or is it about competitive triathletes taking their training international? What is it about to you guys? It might be that what it's about is personal, and it might be what it's about is just something that really sparks interest, whether that's an area that your knowledge lies, or whether that's something that you partake in. Are you a rock climber and you want to reach out to other rock climbers and tailor a program so that you kind of work in that space specifically? How did you get here? There's so much power in storytelling, and if you have a really great story behind your brand, people are really going to hone in, they're going to trust you, and they're going to feel really connected. You hear it all the time with some of these, let's say, the Biggest Loser competitors, who then take their story and their journey beyond what they were doing and into the fitness world, for example. That's such a powerful story that they've shared with the world, that people can relate to and people believe them and have trust and credibility with that. It's so powerful in its own. So have a little think if there is a story, and if there's not, that's okay. It might be that you have a story that is someone else's story that has inspired you or has, you know, motivated you to take this direction. But storytelling is so key to that connection, especially with that personal branding. The last one is probably the most challenging question to ask yourself, and it's one that you might want to reflect on, and you probably don't have the answer all of the time, or it might change. And that's, what impact are you making, if any? And when I say impact is, what I mean is, what are you doing to contribute to the greater community, or what do you do that's going to actually make you stand out from the crowd, make you very different to everyone else, or you know, really give you that unique sort of, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, how can you be that person that people go, do you know what, you know, Georgie, she is the person to go to for postnatal rehab for women, because she's been through this, that. She's got an amazing story, she's got credibility, she's got testimonials. You know, what draws you to that? And on the back of that, the impact I'm having would be to talk to a demographic of women potentially who have never had some of these really taboo topics kind of broken down, and you know, who talks about their pelvic floor publicly. You know, so there's huge impact on that. Ariane, do you want to jump in on that? She had her hand up.
No, I don't want to jump in. I'm just saying that I will talk about it to other women. It's not a sacred taboo thing that you can't talk about. Yeah. I'm quite happy to say, don't make me skip too much because I'll pee on your feet. So, and most people who've had babies get that, so it's cool.
Yeah, and you know what, but there's a lot of people who don't, and you know, what is that impact you're having is, you know, you're creating a bit of a movement where it is becoming okay to do those sort of things. And that's, you know, for an example of what impact that might have. You know, you're contributing to a market of, in this scenario, of women who may be a little bit too unsure of how to start those conversations. So that's in its own is impactful. For some of you guys on the live, do you have any answers to some of these questions that you want to share with us? Has anyone thought of any sort of impacts they want to make, or how they're contributing, or what their brand is about already?
Yeah, I have.
Sure, Dem, and then I think Aaron's already popped his hand up as well. Do you want to share with us, Dem?
Yeah, I guess I was kind of forced to do this when I was studying my certs, and then from there it's kind of just evolved over the last 3 years. But I guess my main passion is to just get females, and it didn't start off being just female orientated, but since working at Virgin, it's definitely kind of filtered into just females at the moment. It might change, but yeah, just getting females feeling more confident about, one, their body and what it can do, and celebrating what it can do, and two, that movement is medicine, and it can kind of, like, if you know how to move well, or just moving a little bit, can help lots of other aspects of your life, but then also finding that holistic aspect within your life as well, I think is really important. Personally, I've had this help me over a number of different ways. Like when I was younger, growing up, I was like, use sport to help me get through school, and then, you know, the gym helped me get through like a long-term distance relationship, and then it's helped me, and personal training as well, and building my business has helped me develop into, you know, what I am today, and helps me with my kind of like mental health too. Yeah, and I guess I just like that it's helped me so much that I want that to impact my clients or the people I connect with. And I think that's my message, is just to get people moving and positive and motivated with what they've got, and celebrating what they can do rather than what they can't do, I think. But it's still, it ever evolves. It's like always evolving, which is awesome at the same time.
Yeah. So, I mean, just listening to you then, we can definitely hear that you've already asked those questions, whether you kind of know it or not. You've kind of got yourself, you've got the story that you've been through your own journey. You kind of know how you want that to reflect on other people that you work alongside or with, and you kind of have quite clear direction with your personal brand already. What would be really interesting for you, Dem, is how you could really get into the detail of some of that and really break it down to more of the sort of more niche or more specific, so that you're really working to make a bigger impact on, say, fewer individuals rather than a more general sort of the sort of database, let's say, or audience. So like you said, this is ever evolving. You can really start off just asking very broad how you're going to do this, and then as you become more familiar, more experienced, and work with different people, you can definitely find out what really does serve you and serve them, and take that a little bit deeper as well. I would always revisit these every time you do sort of like your 6-month and 12-month goal setting. As individuals who run their own business, you know, I think it's really key that you are setting yourself goals, and you're setting yourself, I'm going to say, business goals or development goals within your business. And this branding should definitely be something that you consider reflecting on and going back every 6 months, every year, because it is ever changing. We know that clients come, they go. Even the environment we're in, like today, you know, our communication channels have completely changed the game. So what does your brand look like now that, you know, yeah, you might have had that real connection face to face, but how can you maintain that and still make an impact from a distance? So 3 questions, big questions, but a really simple way to kind of start and to get moving. Storytelling is a great opportunity for your audience to connect to your brand, but it's, you know, it's connecting on a deeper, more personal, more soulful level. And the more that you can do that, the more likely they're going to stay with you. So we're kind of looking at building relationships opposed to just finding clients. It's about getting those quality people drawn to what you want to do to serve them, and ensuring that they stay with you so that you can continue serving them, not just for the first 12 weeks, not for the first 6 months, but for as long as you can and they can. Did you want to share yours with us?
Yeah, sure. In terms of my client base, like, it's very diverse in terms of male, female, and age. I think the thing that sort of linchpins my sort of values and my brand is making exercise as engaging and as fun as possible for those clients, depending if they're weight loss, coming back from an injury. The main thing is to have an enjoyment of exercise so that it becomes a part of their daily routine, which is what I found has helped with client retention, in the sense they don't dread coming to a session or dread exercise. It's something they feel better, they move better. The way I'm programming is obviously to fundamentally make them move better or lose weight, whatever their goal might be. But the focus of the session is just keeping them engaged and keeping them fun. So if you see me on the gym floor, whether it's in a class or in a one-on-one session, you probably see me and my clients just always laughing or joking or some point in that workout. And for me, that's my brand, because people see that from the outside and they can see that person enjoying what they're doing, regardless if it's a burpee or a step up or some sort of pelvic floor movement. And that's what has always helped me get more buy-in from members from the outside looking in, because they can see that it doesn't look clinical, it looks enjoyable. So that's what I found for me in the last sort of 8 years in the industry. What I've found work best for me, that's sort of my sort of brand, which has helped me market myself to a wider demographics than I initially ever thought that I would.
Yeah, but you know, you touched on something really powerful there, and something that you may want to look at sort of harnessing. And for you, it's about creating feeling, and that feeling you have is quite definite, that you want it to be fun and engaging. Some of the things that we can challenge on that to make it a little bit more sort of targeted would be, what does fun look like and what does fun feel like when training with Aaron? You know, does it look very different to what it might look like if you're with Ariane or Bryce or Stephen or Bianca? Like, what does that look like, and how can you draw people to that feeling?
I think,
you know,
I think you touched on it previously, Georgie, with when you said about relationship building. It's, your clients almost become your friends and your network. So it's, you know, if they said it was their son's birthday on the weekend, it's asking them like, hey, how was the birthday party? And it's that way to draw in the conversation to be more about the movement per se, or the exercise or the goal, but it's looking at their journey holistically, like inside and outside of the gym. So I think relationship building, the personal relationship I have with each individual client is what would make that fun and engaging. In terms of how you could market that or brand it, I don't really know, but I mean, that's how I would explain it anyway.
Absolutely. And I feel that this today will give you a little bit of direction on how you can kind of deep dive into some of that, some of those, how does that look and how does it feel kind of stuff. You know, relationship building, we always talk about this rapport building, being in service all the time when we're in club. You know, the challenge now is how do we build those relationships, you know, from a virtual. Betty, did you want to add to that? You had your hand up.
Yeah. So can I just add on that, you know, in that case, during the session, whatever you planned, and the client, whatever is happening in their life, and they're not up for it because they don't feel strong or whatever, you're gonna change that regardless. So you have to be flexible with that. And I think in relationship building, you have to remember their names, their son, their dog, what's happening, and to be able to do that, you have to active listening, not talking, let them talk, because this is a kind of counseling session as well. It's not just moving the body, because they want to unload mentally. That's my experience. And if you don't remember the dog name or whatever, you just, what's going on with your doggy? It's like, I know, my client's got dogs or cats or whatever, I know your bloody name, but what's going on with your doggy?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You've got to be interested, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And then, you know, that if you zone out during the session and it's just you focusing on so much on the moves, it's not gonna get you too far away. And, you know, it's like I got clients who's sticking with me since I started in French just for as they are with me, regardless, because it's like you nurturing them.
Absolutely. You know, what makes you different from someone else? You know, I was talking to Aaron and Demi earlier about this. You know, my husband can, you know, follow a script and train someone. He's not qualified to, but it's not what we do, it's how we do it and how we show up. All those things that we're talking about with personal branding, that really makes the difference in that. So
and then, you know, like, I'm pretty similar like Aaron, you know, if you cannot hear me that I'm in the gym, is I'm doing something wrong. So it's like you will be laughing loud, or I heard them loud, and that they, you know, they're suffering very loud or whatever. But I said, this is bullshit. And I know that your brain threshold is much less.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But that's your personality into the session. So it's like, you know, no one can tell you what it is. That's just who you are.
Yeah. And what we'll do in a bit is we're going to look at brand personality, and this kind of segues into that kind of part of our personal branding as well. So we'll keep moving, but thank you guys for sharing that. So I'm just going to move your faces so I can see my entire screen. What does brand development look like step by step? This is very basic, guys. This stuff here. You can deep dive into this stuff, or you can just brush over it. The more you kind of get into the nitty gritty of your brand, the more clarity you're going to have, and the more that you can communicate that clearly with those people you want to attract. So it might look quite overwhelming. There are a lot of boxes, but really it's about, you know, taking this long term, rather than, do you know what, I can do this in the next hour and tick that box. It doesn't work like that. Your brand doesn't just happen on a piece of paper in half an hour. It's something that you really develop over time. So what I ask you guys to do is just to be really mindful of what that might look like for you. You might have clarity already, and this is a quicker process. For others, this might be completely brand spanking new, and it will take time. So be patient during this process. So does anything here kind of stand out for you guys that you kind of think, yeah, I've kind of done this, or I don't really know what that is? Is there anything particular sort of on the screen now? Anyone?
USP.
Cool. So unique selling point. So we'll go through that in a little bit more detail. That's how you stand out basically from everyone else. So anyone else, is there anything particular that you that kind of sparks that you want to go over in a little bit more detail today? Cool, we'll just keep going. So vision and mission, how many of you have heard this before? Probably quite a few, yeah. You definitely would have heard that working for Virgin. We have our vision, we have our mission, we also have our values, which we'll go into a little bit more. But when we're talking about personal branding, these are ones that are your vision and your mission in your business within, let's say, the brand of Virgin in this case for you guys. So the difference between the two, does anyone know what a vision is, for example?
Yeah, so vision's more like a long-term sort of goal per se, and a mission's more like what you want to bring to someone.
Yeah, absolutely. So a vision is kind of outlines what the individual wants to grow and develop, where they want to go, and the mission itself is what you're doing now. What is happening now in this space. So vision, future, mission, now is how I like to simplify that. You can go into so much detail with these, or you can keep it really quite simple and quite broad. Does anyone have a vision or a mission that they've already kind of worked on that they would like to share? No? Cool. We'll come back to some chats after the video, and if you do want to share them and sort of workshop those, we can jump on another call as well, because I feel that, you know, a vision and a mission are actually quite key to getting started. Yeah, Betty.
Yeah, with the vision and mission, they are on our personal profile on the TV, what other people can see as well. But don't you say that the last sentence of your, I would say that's a vision / mission is the same thing. Mine is like what you think, so you become. That's it. So simple.
Yeah.
Others like get half a book. Doesn't work for me. Yeah. So I need to be precise, short and sharp and sweet.
Yeah. And what Betty's demonstrating here is a bit of her personality in her brand already. Short and sweet, to the point. I mean, we all know you. Would everyone agree that, you know, you present your brand quite clearly to everyone, and it's very reflective of that. And you know, it doesn't matter what that is, but it's so clear, and people know what that is and where to stand with it. And it's great. It's well communicated. Short and sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Everyone's laughing. Can you see each other on the videos? Cool. I'm not going to go into the detail of this because I think it is quite a personal statement to make. So just your vision is that future statement. Your mission is what's now for you guys. Your mission might be that you want to just serve your members online. It could be as simple as that. In the future, I want to be able to have a business that can adapt to change and be much more technologically savvy. They're very topical right now, and you can change it based on where you want to go with your goals and direction. So very simple sort of statements there. Cool. So we've been touching on brand personality, and Betty, you're nailing yours for us through this chat. So thanks for sharing everything. What sort of brands have we got up on the screen, guys? Do you know all of those? Yeah. So what have we got in that left corner?
Apple,
Apple in the middle,
Ferrari,
Ferrari, and the last one?
Chanel.
Chanel. Cool. So let's kind of look at each one of these. I've just picked 3 that I could think of off the top of my head. Don't know why. I don't own a Ferrari and I don't have a lot of Chanel, but I do have an Apple. What does Apple represent in terms of personality, do you feel?
Steve Jobs. That's all I think about.
Hey, Tess.
Hey,
Welcome.
I've been here for a while.
Have you? Oh, your
I was
screen's
only
popped
like
up.
4 minutes late.
That's all right. So you can watch back the recording, Tess. We are recording this for you. So if you have missed the beginning, you can go back over those. So Apple, what sort of personality do you think Apple has, guys? When
Fun
you
and
think of
interactive.
Apple, fun and interactive, cool. Anything else?
I think they want to represent purity as well, kind of like get outside the box of other technological companies.
Yeah. So we could say it's innovative as well. That's kind of a big one for Apple.
You're
Yeah.
holding like a experience, for lack of a better word. So like when Apple released their first desktop computers, I think it's like 1984 they did it. They released it as if it was a like an event. So
Yeah.
like the ad originally goes through like historical moments. So it goes like Thriller Manila and all that sort of thing, like the Olympics, and they thought, well, this is a moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're all about creating that experience and that connection to it, predominantly, I suppose, computers and music was the biggest stuff for them in the early stages, and it's about how it makes people feel, how technology makes people feel. So very much about that experience and thinking outside the box and being innovative and creative, all those kind of entrepreneurial like personalities. What about Ferrari?
Elegance.
Ooh, elegance. Interesting.
Fun.
I would have just gone like
Speed.
fast. Yeah, fast and adventure and
High class.
yeah, cool. Very different to a Honda, would you agree? Both cars,
Yeah.
but very different. And the last one, Chanel. So Chanel being much more sophisticated, very much, for me, it reminds me of my nan. Chanel No. 5 perfume. It's very much a sort of, for me, a bit older, very sophisticated, very elegant. That's kind of how this makes me feel, this kind of brand. So if I was to ask you guys what sort of personality you guys want, and Aaron, you spoke about this with your fun and engaged earlier, what sort of personalities do you want to bring to your training sessions, online or offline? Does anyone have any idea, or is this something we haven't really thought about yet?
So I think in my training sessions, I kind of want to make it more straight to the point, try and get as much work done as possible in that 45-minute bracket, and actually give people what they want and what they pay for. A lot of my clients have responded well to that, and they like to come in, get it done, and kind of go because they've got busy lifestyles.
Yeah, okay, cool. So kind of, no fuss, down to business. They want to, you're definitely looking at people who are busy but need kind of that set time that's just dedicated to this. Easy. So you kind of got an idea of who you want to attract with your kind of workout through those personality types. Yeah, cool. And how do you think you could develop that so it goes online, Tess?
I guess in the same way, where I make a program where it's really pushing those people, but obviously I think I would have to be there to keep them accountable for it, so I can actually watch them do it and push them through it. I think that's one of the biggest things in my style of training is it's not just here's a workout, there you go do it and let me know how you go. It's more like I have to be there and watch you do it because I have to hold you accountable for it.
Yeah, so yours is really like, if you're with me, this is, you know, you're accountable and stuff's going to get done. Yeah, cool. And I think that's quite clear, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there'll always be options, you know. There's some people, and the timing might not be right and everything like that, like if we're going online. But at the same time, it's where I would prefer to be as a trainer. But you got to also, you know, what's the word? Be flexible with other clients.
Yeah, so having the ability to adapt depending on who you've got. And I think for you guys who are quite new into PT as sort of a career, or you know, you're still in that first couple of years, it's okay to be really flexible and to sort of interchange who you attract until you kind of get an idea of what it is that personality might look like, because it will evolve over time and it does take time to develop. For some of you who've been doing this for a while, you know, like Bessie, you kind of know, and you know who you want to attract, and if they're not that sort of person who's going to buy in, then that's okay, because you know what you want and you can choose. There's plenty of people out there to be quite picky with, and when you kind of know what that personality is, you can really sort of narrow that net of people that you're reaching out to, and have much more sort of direction with where you communicate and send that message to. You with me? Yeah, cool. Does anyone else want to share sort of their insights on brand personality? I reckon you do, Ariane. You're looking like you're ready to say something, but not.
Sure. And then Aaron can go because I saw his hand up. With a lot of the ladies that I coach at home, I feel like mine is a bit different to Tessa. I like to create a space where people will feel secure. I train a lot of ladies who don't want to go to a big gym. They like to be in a small space with just a few people, feel confident within themselves, and pushing them, like Tess as well, pushing them so that they will do something a bit more than what they thought. There's so many clients I've had that will I can't do that, and I'm like, yeah, give it a go, come on, you know. There's no harm, just give it a go and have, you know, see what happens, and they normally get through it. I used to have one lady that would just be like, I can't the whole time, and it got to this stage where I'd probably be a little bit abrupt and a bit rude to her. But at the end of it, once she pushed through that barrier and did the movement or the workout, she'd be fine. And she'd be like, thanks so much for pushing me. It made a world of difference. Rather than like what Tess said, just going off and doing your own, you're never going to push yourself as hard as having someone right beside you, cracking that whip and making them move.
And we'll go into a bit of like that unique selling point, that point of difference, where both of you are very, very similar in the way that you carry yourself and you sort of deliver yourself on the gym floor, but what you service to people is actually really different. And you know, Tess, I can see you working with these CEO guys and girls and real sort of corporate, which is no fuss, get the job done. And Ariane, I can see you more in sort of like the community, a little bit more nurturing, but you know, there's a time and a place. And all of this sort of thinking about it is kind of tailoring your personality around who you want to work with, because we can all choose who we want to work with, and it's okay that we don't want to work with everyone. You know, if someone doesn't gel with you, they're not reflective of the style that you want to train. It's okay to say, I just don't know if this is going to work. And you know, there's a real confidence in that space once you have clarity of who those people are going to be and how you want to deliver to that. Who else wanted to share? I didn't see did anyone else have something to add? All good. Cool. I'll move on to the next stuff. So once we know sort of who we are, who we want to attract, what that kind of personality looks like, we need to back it up with something a bit more concrete, and that comes into our values. Who would like to share what values means?
Well, what someone's going to be getting out of it, what they value in a service.
Yeah, cool. Yep. So what they're getting out of it. For me, it's kind of like we could bundle that into what's the expectation is from that person or from that service. Does anyone have any values set for their business currently? You probably do, but you haven't kind of written it down and gone, boom, 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 this is what my values are. We have them with Virgin as well. We have our values, our 6 values that we go back to. You know, for me, you know, I really want to develop a brand that I know people will trust, that people would feel safe and secure with, but also know that, you know, there's this real sense of professionalism and direction and the ability to continue to grow. They're values that I have within what I do. You know, that ever need to seek to understand before being understood is one of my biggest values. And you know, that listening skill that Betty said earlier, that's, you know, they're very similar. You know, values could be anything that you kind of hold yourself to through that delivery of the service you give. Does that ring bells with anyone? Yeah, cool. I'm just mindful of time, so I feel that we can go through some of this stuff in more detail a bit later on, but for sake of time, I'm just going to keep rolling if that's all right, guys. So this is one that Demi, you said, ooh, what's that? USP and target market. So I've got a couple of pictures up on the screen, and we'll just go left to right. USP, by the way, guys, is your unique selling points. What makes you stand out from each other? From, you know, the unique selling point between Tess and Ariane. What is that? Because you're quite similar. What is the difference, you know, between Stephen and Bryce? Because again, you're quite similar. And then your target market is, you know, that group of people that you would share this with. So let's go left to right in these images here. You'll see on the left, you've got a guy with a boxing bag. What do you think his unique selling point would be? Just based on the imagery that you see.
Like more
Boxing? Yeah, okay, yeah, so boxing.
He's doing a knee, so I'd say like Muay Thai, kickboxing, martial arts.
Cool, so martial arts, yeah. What about target market, just by looking at this image?
Middle-aged men.
Middle-aged men, cool.
like people more doing combat sort of training, for lack of a better word.
Cool, yeah, nice. The power of an image, huh?
People who have stressful
image.
jobs or stressful lifestyles and like to do that kind of training for it.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, kind of that stress release, beat the hell out of the bag kind of style. I think, as you know, with this image, it's so ambiguous, don't you think? It's down to interpretation. So, you know, what Tess sees, what Stephen saw, you know, we're very different, and the perspective of this unique selling point and target market is potentially very different. And we'll kind of flick through the rest, but I'll come back to that statement and explain why I've kind of gone down this route with the USP. What about lady in the middle next to Boxer Man? What do you reckon? What's her unique selling point?
Reformer.
Pilates reformer, yeah. Anything else?
The core strengthening.
Yeah, pelvic floor, isolated movements. But it
Cool.
could be, I think so many people, they bored with this because it's, you know, it's got so many flexibility and variety within it. Depends on the trainer again, yeah. So it, you know, you done my cycle class, you done another person's cycle class, which one you're gonna get more out from it is like, it's your personal preference. How can I motivate you? How do I put the workout together? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, it depends. It's go back to you again, then, you know, what's your settings. There's nothing wrong with reformer, but I love yoga as well. So I always put yoga moves in within the reformer bed. Is it good? Is it bad? They love it. Yes, because it's variety, it's something new.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Betty. Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at an image, you kind of look at it and you go, well, what is that person doing? How does that person make me feel? And is it relevant to what I'm sort of delivering? So when you look at these images here of, you know, the guy boxing, the girl on the reformer, you've got the girl on the hoops, and then the last one, which I think's brilliant, is the guy pushing a pram running. How can sort of imagery represent your unique selling points and actually get the, you know, the meaning, the value, the vision, the mission that you want to deliver across to people looking at these images? Do you guys know where I'm going with this? Do you kind of see where I'm going? So there's absolutely nothing here that really, apart from that, maybe that last space on the end with the guy running with the pram on the track, that says unique selling point to me. The first three are kind of very much, that is what they're doing, but it doesn't tell me anything that's special about it. That one on the end of the runner with the pram on the track really gives me an idea, like maybe this guy, his unique selling point is, you know, new dads who love to run, but in a competitive space. You know, that might be a really unique selling point in target market that that person might be representing in that image. So something for you guys to think about when you're looking at your own sort of virtual platforms and things like social media and how you share some of these things is, what do the images and the visuals say about your unique selling point and make you different from the highly saturated online space that we're about to enter? So it, you know, it's a scary thought that we've got to try and stand out in a very busy industry now that's gone online. But you can do it with the right imagery, the right message, and the right personality behind you, and to the right people. Does anyone have anything they want to add to that? Or kind of taking it in and thinking sort of where you go next? Guys, what I will do is I'll put together a social media kind of how to and how to get started on social media from a marketing and a branding point of view as well. And we can do a separate kind of online workshop for that one. This workshop that I am delivering you now is very is a very small aspect of that one we would have done face to face in April. So we're really skimming over some of these topics today, but there's absolutely no reason why we can't deep dive into anything that you want to go further into. I think social media is going to be a big one for us and communications channels, but I will take that to a separate kind of workshop because it is so much more complex than what we'll go over today. Sound good? Thanks, Seth. Avatar. So what do you feel this could be? Has anyone heard this term before, avatar?
No.
What about ideal client? Yeah, a bit more familiar. So when we look at an avatar, we look at what our ideal client might look like. Who are we attracting? Who do we want to work with? Something that, you know, I did when I was a PT was really kind of give my avatar a name, a job, know what kind of coffee they drink. For you, test with your, let's say your CEO, 40-something, you know, male who loves a double shot piccolo with a dash of milk and then wine at lunch and at night because he's got a couple of big meetings, you know, really social kind of person. You can really deep dive into who that person might be, and you can really, you know, gain clarity on the type of person that you want to serve. And this is what an avatar really starts getting you thinking about, is who would I like to work with, because I can choose who I work with. And that statement, I can choose who I can work with, I can see a lot of people going, can I? I just want to work with anyone right now. When you know or have knowing of where you're going to go, and you set an intent and you have much more direction, you are more than likely going to attract those kind of people. And those people that are congruent and very much aligned with your vision, your mission, your values, you can serve them so much better and add more value that they are likely to stay and refer you on to people with that same, those same personality traits, or the same sort of drive, or whatever it is you're looking for. So you're actually building a much more solid business plan in place by knowing who those kind of people are that you want to attract. Imagine putting a video out of you guys, you're a PT, you put a video out, you're doing a 20-minute body weighted workout, and you've stuck it on social media. And you've shared it with everyone. That's nice. Okay. But why? Who's it for? What do you want to get out of it? Can you see how we can start to play around with some of these details to really give ourselves a little bit more direction and be a bit more concise? Has anyone put any videos out yet?
So I've been working on a little teaser I recorded yesterday, apart from like this random outdoor workout I did, but the teaser's got like a little bit of technique, like a bit of a workout, but not divulging into like a full on workout where, you know, because that's what you want to get paid for, you know. I don't want to give out free workouts through social media unless I'm getting some kind of endorsement, you know, from advertising or something like that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so great point. You don't want to, I mean, social media is a great platform to share content. It's kind of like, I have what you need right now, but I'm not giving it away in its entirety, because yeah, you still gotta run a business. So having those little teasers, but for you saying that you've put together, it's very specific to the type of training that you do with the boxing, the martial arts, all those kind of things. Did I bag that up in the right way?
It's more body weight stuff, but yeah, actually, so some of the stuff you can definitely, you know, intertwine together, and you know, body weight works excellent for any kinds of sports. So definitely.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, we can really think about how to really target that. And when we go back to sort of, we had that USP, what makes you stand out, but we also had target market. Your target market is really the group of people that you would share this with. And then your avatar is the person within that group of people that you really want to focus on. You see how it kind of all comes back around into this, you know, this step by step in this journey of personal brand development. It's not, you know, it's not clean cut. It's actually very much, it's a strategy. It's a business strategy in itself. Does anyone have an ideal client that they like to work with? We know that Tess, you kind of touched on that, and Ariane. Does anyone else want to share theirs?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's very strongly female based, but I'm finding that I have a huge passion that's evolving to just help people, or like females my age, or females going through puberty and hormonal changes, and just figuring out, you know, what their body is doing and how they can work around it. And I think that was pretty evident when I presented the my seminar to the guys about like the hormonal effects, training and nutrition on female body, and what stress and like the impact of stress has on the female body as well. And that's only because it's something I've learned a lot about with my body, and I want to kind of help girls or young females, I guess, become confident with the information or that they need, and just educate themselves, because we don't get a much education on it growing up unless your mum is communicating that. But yeah.
When you say young females, what sort of age group does that look like?
Yeah, so at the moment, it's probably girls around my age, so young working professionals that can afford a little bit of disposable income to train and invest in their health. But also, I guess I do train, like Bianca, for example. Bianca's mum reached out to me because she wanted a healthy role model for her daughter to look up to. So also, I guess, targeting mothers that want to, you know, invest some money into educating their kids as well. And use you as an example, B, but it just came to me. But I've had a few girls as well that's happened for the last year, and it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if I'm to sort of break that down a little bit for you, Dem, just to give you an idea, you've actually got two target markets. You've got your main target market, which is, you know, your young female professional with that disposable income. But then you've also got one that feeds into that, and that's those older women who may not have had the opportunity when they were younger to do this. And so you've actually got two target markets that could kind of entwine into one. So when you're looking at content, for example, you're going to look at two very different audiences on two very different platforms, and you're going to deliver very different messages and content to those two target markets. So you might have a personality that's, you know, very much generalized, but within that you have two unique selling point groups, two separate target markets, and two separate avatars that you can work on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks. Has that kind of brought it together for everyone, kind of using Demi's example there on how you can really sort of tailor this a little bit more, so it's a bit more niche and a bit more targeted to an individual, rather than just all you guys as FitPros at Virgin? Yeah, this is really what, you know, the goal is. You guys are, you know, there's 20 odd of you guys all up on the gym floor with the same credentials. Let's say you're all personal trainers. You've gone and done your strength and conditioning, your Pilates, your yoga, you may have done your boxing, you may have done this and this. But what makes you different? Like, you've really got to sell it to me. You've got to, you know, you've got to make me want to come and train with you. How does that make me feel? How does that, you know, how does that look? How can you deliver that? What's the value? What does that mean to you? And how is that going to impact me as a client? And all these kind of questions are what your clients are looking at, regardless if you're online, face-to-face, outdoors, whatever it is. They all still need something from you, and it's how can you answer that need, but also with the being authentic and being congruent with why you're doing it. So I have, I'll leave it there for the sort of content for today, because I feel like that is so much information for you guys to go away and think about. The stuff that I want to continue with you, and maybe another workshop, is your value offerings. So what does that look like in terms of services that you can deliver? How you can communicate some of this stuff on different channels, whether that's video, social media, face-to-face, in a group like this that we're doing today. What does that look like, and what's the best sort of platform to communicate this to, depending on the target market, the demographic, all those kind of things. And then setting you guys up some goals through this this period of inevitable change and industry shake-up as well, and see how we can kind of keep each other accountable to these new ways of thinking and sort of growing together. Because, you know, this isn't new stuff. There's people who've been doing this in the industry for a very long time, and we just need to play catch up a little bit. But it can be done, and it can be done very simply and without too much sort of work. So just know that this is a good thing, and it's exciting and a huge opportunity to kind of deliver on different ways and communicate to the greater market in a new way. Does anyone have any sort of questions they want to ask me, or anything they want to share before we wrap up?
Nope.
No, not one. Surely.
Can I ask, has anyone been doing any outdoor trainings with their clients since
Nah,
this?
nah,
No, not yet.
nah.
It's too sketchy, hey.
Yes.
Like so many people getting fines. But what because my roommate as well, he works for Vision, and he's like one of the managers, and you know what they do is like their little private thing, whatever, in a car park. But they're gonna have to do it online now too, and I think I'm gonna steal a few ideas of him if you guys are interested to see how they actually do it online.
Yeah,
For
so
me
I think.
Sorry, Georgie.
Go ahead, Aaron. Oh,
I
yeah.
was-
If
you go.
I think, you know, if we're looking at this long term, which we have to look long term, you know, we could go outside and do a workout, but for how long? 2 days, 3 days, 4 days? Is it worth spending your energy and time there right now to look at something that is going to be, you know, a longer term situation? So what I would just say for you guys is really spend this time in sort of, I'm going to call it limbo, because we're all kind of not sure where we're going yet, to really work on what you want to deliver. And you know, the power of this brand development is so that when you do get that opportunity to hit go on something, and you know, Virgin will support you with that, and there's stuff that, you know, will come to you very soon. How are you going to do it with a bigger impact and more successfully? And you know, kind of coming back to that brand development right now is going to give you, you know, a bit more of an edge on that and a kickstart for sure.
Yeah.
Did you want to? Sorry for cutting you.
No, I'm just going to say to Tess, like what we was discussing earlier, is just me personally, I feel a bit irresponsible if I'm going out and training people, especially when we're, you know, kind of being advised by the government to stay in. And if we can, you know, keep simple choices to stay in now to sort of stop the lockdown period for as long as possible, well, I think what we can do is just keeping our clients engaged, like using Zoom or social media, Skype, whatever it is that they feel comfortable doing, and assessing sort of the equipment available to them in the space, and providing sort of home workouts for them to do to keep them engaged, keep them moving, until we've got, you know, full access to the gym, or the government then says, hey, it's actually, you know, safer to be outside. That's just me personally. Like, I just feel a bit irresponsible going out and exposing myself or other people to, you know, unknown factors. So I'm just going to try and use the online world as much as possible in this interim period.
Yeah, just going off that.
Totally
like,
agree.
yeah, you don't know where they've been as well. Like, they could have been anywhere if they've turned up. They could have been, yeah, overseas or anything like that. Or they could be, like, potentially a carrier as well.
Yeah, so Stephen, you know, we've got to look at ourselves and make sure that we're all safe as well. So I think on that, it's a personal choice. Like, you know, it's up to you guys what you decide to do in that space. But looking at where the market's going and looking at the trends, for me personally, you know, set yourself up for longer term, and really do it well, and do it with support, and do it so that, you know, you can continue your livelihoods, which is, you know, what you guys deliver day in, day out in a brick and mortar. That's never going to be the same anymore for you guys. It's not. Like, the industry has completely changed, but it doesn't mean that, you know, we need to run right now. Sit back, let everyone else saturate the market, learn from it, wait until you've got a little bit more direction, a bit more quality assurance behind you, and do it well. And do it better. Take this time to kind of work on your brand and yourselves at this stage. That would be my advice, if I'm allowed to give it, or it'd be my recommendation for sure.
Can I just add on that, you know, to be able to do this, do we have to be registered and insured to do this from home, or what's the regulation with that?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah, look, for you guys, because you're all Virgin based, what I would say to you guys is just sit tight for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit tight. You know, you're going to be fully supported. There's going to be stuff that's going to be out there for you. You know, we're not sitting here kind of not understanding what's happening.
You guys are going to make us a platform, aren't you?
Who knows? Who knows? There'll definitely be support there, and I think you know, guys, use this. You so many gyms across the world have stood down their employees, and Virgin hasn't. You know, you're in a really, really good space right now, so enjoy this and really take the time. I really can't stress that enough. You guys got so much to share. You can start building content, you know, absolutely use your time, but just don't, you know, don't think now, think long term.
Hey, Georgie.
Yeah, Jen.
For anyone who's wanting to kind of tap into this a little bit more, is there a book you recommend, or a website, or someone that has a YouTube channel that we can kind of go and tap into each aspect of this more?
Yeah, look, I mean, the stuff I've given you today is very, very basic brand stuff. So you can definitely hit YouTube up or go on to, you know, any social media and find stuff on this. Definitely. There's a whole, it's completely saturated as well, especially now during this time. What I would just say to you guys is just be mindful that you're going to be absolutely inundated with people wanting to coach you through this stuff and ask you to pay for it, and to kind of get PTs moving from the face-to-face to online through their own programs and things like that. I am more than happy with Demi and Aaron to work with you guys and develop some of these areas without you having to go and pay for courses and things like that. So if there is anything particular, you know, I do have a marketing background. I've worked with businesses to grow them. This is my old stomping ground. I'm more than happy to put these things together for you and make it quite relevant to what you guys do now. So if there's anything you do want to deep dive in, like, you know, whether it's you want to have a one-on-one with me to kind of brainstorm some things, I am more than happy to spend that time with you guys. Just make sure you reach out to me so we can see that up. Yeah.
All right.
Is that kind of similar feelings across the board with you guys? Sort of, what now? Yeah. So I think what I'll do is, for anyone who's on the recording, we're going to just cut off the recording now. So thank you for joining us. What I will do is I will put that brand development workbook up in the comments or up in our Facebook group for you guys to use. And this recording, if you do have any questions off the back of this recording, just add it to the comments on the post. So thanks guys for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone else, you're welcome
Thank you.
to maybe have any more questions. I'm just going to stop that recording. Where is it?
Okay.
Awesome. So guys, recording's finished. Thanks so much for jumping on. I really hope this was of value. It says recording. Oops. I hope I recorded it. Who knows? We'll see. Oh well. Yeah, thanks for taking the time out. I really appreciate you guys doing that. I actually think that I have missed the recording.
I think it was on.
I was on. I did press on, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, it says it's recording right now.
Oh,
Top left.
I feel like we're in the Brady Bunch.
oh well, you guys made it.
Yeah.
You can do it again. Can you hear my husband in the garage, by the way?
No.
Oh, good, because all I can hear is next to you. Guys, is that helpful? Did it give you something to kind of work on over the next couple of days at least, or next week or so?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. I'll get that sort of workbook. Oh my God, it's driving me mad. I'll get that workbook to you guys ASAP. I just, like I said, I've got to take my old branding off of it and develop it for Virgin.
Virgin branding.
Better branding. So yeah, I'll let you know when that's up. But if you have any questions on that, just let me know. Yeah, and I'll put some more sort of, Demi, to answer your question earlier, I'll put some links to some sort of podcasts or YouTubes or things like that would be relevant for personal training, because it's such a big world. You want to kind of stay industry on this one as best you can.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I will chat to you soon.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.